Hello and welcome to episode 45 of the How to Survive podcast. My name is Chris and joining me is my bandmate, my touring buddy, it's Joe.
Hello. I mean, I like to think of you more of a roadie or a groupie, I guess.
I think I'm the band leader.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The front man.
Here we are. It's episode 45 of the podcast, and this week we're talking about Green Room, the Jeremy Saulnier thriller horror film about a punk band who get stuck under siege, pitted against a neo-Nazi skinhead gang in the Oregon forest, basically.
Yep.
It's a really interesting film,
yes,
I would say, and as ever on the How to Survive podcast, we're going to recap the story just to get the context before we move on to discussing how we had actually survived the situations the characters find themselves in. So if you haven't seen Green Room, then obviously, as ever, we advise you go watch it before you listen to the podcast, unless you're not worried about spoilers, because as we say, we will talk about the film freely.
Yes, from now.
Pat, Sam, Reese and Tiger are members of the punk band The Ain't Rights, who are on tour, and they are struggling, basically, to find anywhere that will let them play.
They refuse to do any marketing, don't they?
Yeah, they have no social media presence, no internet presence whatsoever, which is important. It will factor in later, and they appear to have a sort of desire to do things the old school way, the punk way, you might say. And after a gig falls through in Oregon, they are invited to play at a neo-Nazi skinhead bar in the middle of the woods, and they decide that basically the money's good enough, and despite not supporting the politics of that particular scene, they're going to go play anyway. So they go there. It's quite an isolated location, and they play the gig. They open with a cover of the Dead Kennedys' Nazi Punks Fuck Off, which riles the crowd up, but they eventually win them over. And then after the gig, Pat goes back to the Green Room to collect his bandmate's phone, where he finds a dead body, basically, a murder that has just been committed. And the band are trapped in the Green Room with one of the neo-Nazis, a man called Big Justin, who is a big man.
Yes,
and
called Justin. Yes,
and Amber, who is a friend of the murdered girl. And they are trapped there by the gang until the gang can figure out what they're going to do with them.
And they've all become... They've all seen too much.
Yeah, they are witnesses to this murder. And Darcy, played by Patrick Stewart, who is the leader of the Nazi skinhead gang, it's clear that they, the punk band are dead men walking, as it were. Men and women walking.
Yes.
And so a tense standoff ensues. They have a gun in the Green Room, and Darcy, the leader of the gang, needs them to give it up, basically, before things can progress.
Yeah.
And given that they have no way out and no other option, Pat decides to try and give him the gun. And it doesn't go well, Joe.
No.
He sticks his arm through to hand the gun, and they slam the door shut on his arm and basically mutilate it with machetes until he's able to pull his arm back through, what's left of his arm. Meanwhile, in the chaos...
What, by the way, is the point of that? Why did they do that?
Because they're trying to get into the room, I assume.
Right, and he tried to shut the door.
Yes. Right. Meanwhile, in the room, Big Justin attacks and is overpowered by the rest of the band, who break his arm. And then Reese, the drummer, who is the sort of one of the band members who seems to know how to carry himself a bit more than the others.
A bit handy, isn't he?
Yeah, he manages to put him in a chokehold and render him unconscious, at which point Amber takes a box cutter and slits open his abdomen from, groin to chest, basically. And that does for Big Justin, basically.
Yes.
You're not coming back from that.
No. And there's more of you outside than there is inside.
Yes, and there's a considerable amount of him to fall out as well.
Yeah.
And they discover that there's a heroin lab underneath the Green Room, which goes some way to explaining why Darcy is so keen on keeping it quiet by murdering the group. But there's no way for them to get out through that laboratory because the hatch that would have led to their escape is locked.
Mm-hmm.
So they eventually resolve to basically try and storm their way out. They leave the green room into what is a surprisingly empty venue.
Yeah.
Where they are set upon by attack dogs.
Yes.
And Tiger has his throat ripped out by the attack dog, and Reese bundles out of a rear window of the venue and is quickly stabbed to death. So not so handy anymore.
No.
The remaining 3 return to the green room and hide and formulate a plan of what to do, and their plan is basically try and run away again.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, it doesn't go particularly well. This time they have the help of a neo-Nazi who has sort of seen the light, who is immediately shot in the head with a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
The gang managed to grab the shotgun and kill the person wielding it and escape. They managed to make it about 5 feet outside before Amber, the neo-Nazi girl who is on the same side as them, is shot, and Sam, the guitar player of the band, is gunned down and then eaten by dogs.
Yeah.
So Pat and Amber return to the green room to formulate a further plan.
Yeah. Guess what they're going to do next?
Yeah. And basically they resolve to go mental.
Yeah.
As Seal would say, they're never going to survive unless they get a little crazy.
Yes. Bring the fight to them.
Yeah. And so they trick the people who have been sent to kill them into following them into the lab.
Mm-hmm.
One jumps down, and meanwhile Amber emerges from inside the sofa and kills him. They manage to kill the second neo-Nazi and make their way outside, helped by Gabe, who is the guy who runs the club day to day and is clearly throughout the film having some doubts about his neo-Nazi leanings. And he basically leads them to the residence, a place that Darcy has referred to as the residence, where they are staging a crime scene to excuse the fact that all the rest of the band members are dead. Pat and Amber hold Darcy and his compatriots at gunpoint and eventually execute them, and Gabe finds some people who call the police. And the film ends with Pat and Amber waiting for the police to arrive.
Yes. And that was Green Room, eh?
And that was Green Room. So it's a very, very intense film. Like Hush last week, it's a sort of siege movie.
Yeah.
It's very tense. It's very bloody.
Yes, it is.
And
brutal, really. Yeah,
it's pretty nasty film. What did you think of Green Room?
I think it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Both in terms of it was an amazing film, and also because some of the effects were astonishing.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, how early do you want to talk about Pat having his arm?
Well, let's go straight into it, because I was about to compare that. If you compare it to Hush last week, the main character in Hush, spoilers for that if you haven't seen it, so skip forward 30 seconds.
Yeah.
She gets her arm caught in the patio door, and the killer just stamps on her hand until it's pulp.
Yeah.
But then from then on, it looks like she's just wearing a prosthetic arm.
Yes.
Whereas in Green Room, he gets his arm basically cut to shreds.
Yeah.
And it looks like how I imagine that would look.
Yeah, his hand is hanging off,
yeah,
basically, and the rest of his arm is cut, to pieces. Yeah. I saw someone on the internet describe his performance from that point onwards as limp-wristed. But
I like how they wrap it in duct tape so they can just
so they find some duct tape in the lab, and to stop him bleeding to death, they wrap it in duct tape, which is very good first aid.
Yeah. That's going to hurt coming off, though.
Oh god, yeah, I didn't think of that. Well, his arm's going to come off with it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
it's very nasty, isn't it? I watched this in the cinema. We both watched it in the cinema, in fact, separately.
Yes.
And when he pulls his arm back through the door, and you see what's left of it, there was the most visceral reaction in the cinema that I can remember for a long time. Yeah, because it's
a groan.
Imagine the nastiest flesh wound that you've seen in a movie, and then double it, and ground it in a film that's very realistic.
Yeah, exactly. You feel unwell already because of the horrible situation. Yeah, the tension. I think in terms of tension, I always compare things to Breaking Bad,
right?
Because I think that is the master of tense situations.
Yeah, well, there's a few points of comparison.
It's the standoffish sort of thing of you know what's going to happen, and it's just a matter of time before it does.
Yeah.
And oh god, it's the naivete of the characters of like, don't give them the gun because that's the only thing you have keeping you safe.
Yeah, well, they are sort of. They've got no option, have they?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, their option is either give up the gun and take this guy on his word, or shoot everybody
with the 4 bullets. Yeah.
So the interesting thing I thought was throughout the film, Darcy, who's played by Patrick Stewart, and we'll talk about his performance later because it's great. He's constantly telling his people not to shoot the band members. Yeah. Did you figure out the reason why?
Yeah, I thought it was obvious because he was going to stage it.
Yeah, because so he's staging.
Because there's another point where he says something like, "Let him bleed out because we want it to look like a fresh, like we want the time of death to match up." Basically.
Yes, yeah. So
someone who's been brutally stabbed is just left to bleed out.
Yeah,
horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. And also, I like the way the film sort of sets up a few things like that. Like most horror films, if you say, "Oh, leave him," that person's coming back. Yeah. In Green Room, no. Yeah. Dead. He's completely dead. Just dies off screen quietly in a way, like on his own. Yes. And the reason he says don't shoot them, just stab and get them with dogs. Yeah. Is because the crime scene that they're staging later on is that the band who have been shown in the film to siphon gas from other cars because they're so poor, was siphoning gas from a car on a property where there was a dog. Yeah,
and the dog attacked and killed them all.
And mutilated them all.
Which, I mean, I thought they were going to stage, personally, I thought they were going to stage a car crash and just burn the car out.
That would have been another option, but Darcy went for the dogs this time. Yeah. They did have dogs to hand, so... Yeah. But it's a... so once that's set up, it becomes even nastier, really. And at one point, Amber, who is the defecting neo-Nazi girl who teams up with them
because her friend was murdered by the Nazis.
Yes, she says, "At least they're going to shoot me. Like if they catch us, I'm going to get shot, and I'm fine with that because that's going to be quick. You're going to get like cut to pieces." And it's once you've the point at which you see his mutilated arm, it's quite early on in the film, so that's hanging over the rest of the film. Yeah, but it's very violent. Yes. And it's like it reminded me of the Coen brothers because they have this tendency to have very sudden bursts of intense violence. Yeah, and Jeremy Saulnier, he says this is sort of part of a trilogy of films. I can't remember the first film that he did, but the second one was Blue Ruin, which is about a man trying to get revenge on people who murdered his family and doing it very badly. Right. And similarly, this is a film about people doing things very badly. Yes, it is. And that's a very Coen-esque trait. Like if you've seen a lot of their early films,
they're just people who think they're the shit and just bumbling idiots.
Just things going really wrong. Yeah. Like Blood Simple, Fargo, all those sorts of films. They're about like murders being incredibly messy and like things going really badly
feeding
wrong.
A body into a wood chipper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, and this has that same sort of feel. Like everything is really just nasty. I mean, the bit where Amber, so they're choking Big Justin. Yeah. Who is an enormous man, and
they're worried that it's taking too long. I think.
Yeah. What? So my interpretation of the film is that Reese was trying to choke him just into unconsciousness.
Yeah. And then he woke up again, and he's like, "Oh, better do it again."
Yeah, and still
I think by that point he was like, he's going to wake up again. Yeah.
Okay, but the girl Amber cuts him. Yeah. A giant like autopsy incision into his belly. And I think like you can see like fat and stuff coming out.
It's because he's a hell of a good special effects team.
Yeah, it's incredible. But again, one of the most visceral reactions to anything I've seen in the cinema. The whole audience going, "Oh!" Yeah, it's a very nasty film, very very nasty, and it is those elements that combine with the whole siege setup to make it. Push it towards a horror film.
A good concept as well.
Yeah.
But everyone in the film acts pretty much how you'd expect them to. And there's no like, I'm going to be a hero, we'll just run in there and try and kill everyone. Yeah. They all are doing measured things. And like even when Amber gashes that guy open, that's because she wants revenge for her friend who was just killed.
Yeah. You can see it. Yeah, you're not like by that point all bets are off. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, because you've already seen the macheted arm. Yeah. Like that, you've got that. Yeah. Already.
Got it going on with that.
Yeah. And it's just It's horrific. But a great film. And one of the great things about the film, I think, is Patrick Stewart's performance.
Yes. As
Darcy, the leader of the gang, the captain of this particular enterprise.
And the owner of the club.
Yes.
What was his accent, Chris?
It's, generic American, I thought.
I thought he was doing, because I was just tuned into Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
And it sounded like...
It didn't sound
occasionally he was like... So he's doing Patrick Stewart. I can't do Patrick Stewart. Do Patrick Stewart.
These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise.
That's good enough.
Right.
But it'll be like, these are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. So it's like exactly the same.
I don't know.
I think I described it in a text to you as Frasier doing an impression of Patrick Stewart.
Fair enough. Well, I didn't notice that myself. Yeah. But I mean, he's playing against type. Yeah, quite majorly. I've not seen him be a villain in any films before. Have you heard the story of him reading the script?
This
film?
No.
So he got sent the script and
did he weep?
No, he read it and he read it through in one sitting. And he said that the second that he finished, the first thing he did was get up, lock all the doors and windows in his house, and put the burglar alarm on, and then sit and drink a load of scotch. Because he was so traumatised by it.
Really?
And he then said that he really wanted to do it because of how interesting and different an opportunity it was for him. And
I can't imagine it's a very high-paying job for him though, because he's
that's a
so it's an artistic thing.
Yeah, exactly. And playing against type is presumably quite an appealing prospect for an actor.
So instead of being like an English person who's like wealthy or
he's like a Shakespeare. He's a Shakespearean actor, isn't he? Yeah. So he's used to playing a certain type of role.
I mean, the only time he's gone against type in my memory is in Extras.
Yeah, but that's like
playing it for a laugh.
Sending up his own character, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I love the moments where he loses control because he's a very measured person throughout the film, very calm, and then every so often he just there's a moment where he shoves the club the guy who runs the club against the wall by his face and calls him a fucking idiot or something. And the person they're with goes Darcy, it's really out of character despite the fact that he's into all these incredibly violent things and criminal acts, and
he's the head of a neo-Nazi gang.
They're stunned when he loses his rag. It's clearly out of character for him. And it's a very sort of Gus Fring, like you mentioned Breaking Bad. It's a very Gus Fring characteristic.
Yeah, because he's he talks to the police and he's like, "Oh, what's the problem, officers?"
Yeah. It's a very sort of villainous politeness about him. Yeah.
Hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
I have a question. Mm-hmm. Why does everyone want to work for him? Because he's got basically people queuing up to just kill people because he says so. What is it?
It's a belief thing.
Yeah.
So he says that the people that he needs for the venture, for killing these people and cleaning up the bodies, are true believers.
Right.
So and they are indicated by people who wear red bootlaces.
Yes. Which he rewards them as a kind of
when they've earned their stripes, basically,
earned their laces,
by murdering people or whatever. It's people who completely buy into the belief system, and that belief system is being a neo-Nazi.
Yeah. So what? Race wars and white power, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I think that is basically the idea.
Yeah,
yeah.
There's no black members of the neo-Nazi gang, are there?
No, there's not. No.
Yeah. That's not very fair, is it?
No.
Discrimination.
Well, it's interesting actually, the politics of the film, because it's overtly quite a political film, but it doesn't actually really have any bearing on the film.
No, it's just neo-Nazis are bad. We know. So
because it has the two groups of characters who are very clearly divided on their politics, despite both enjoying this certain type of music. Because the Ain't Rights, they open their set with that very oppositional Nazi punks fuck off.
Yeah.
To outline the fact we're not like you.
Yeah.
And we're going to tell you that. But they gain their respect by the end of their performance.
By giving a stirring
by just being good at playing punk music, basically. And it's almost like the punk scene transcends the politics, because the politics doesn't really factor into the rest of the film, because it's not like they're being targeted for not being Nazi skinheads. They're just being targeted because they've seen a murder.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a few different escape attempts throughout the film. The first one is when Reese and Tiger are killed. Tiger is mauled by the dog.
Yep.
And Reese escapes out of a back window straight into the waiting knife. Of one of the gang, basically. Just before they all go off in their different directions, or just before they're scattered by the dog.
Yeah.
Reese says, "Let's split up."
Yes.
And Tiger says, "Good idea." No, it is not.
No.
It is never a good idea.
When is any military unit or successful team ever gone, let's split up?
Yeah. We've not watched a single film out of these 45 where someone has gone, let's split up, and it's worked out well.
For any of them?
No.
I can imagine maybe an Alien.
Yeah, but that doesn't work out. That works...
It works well for one person.
Yeah, it doesn't work out well for the group.
No.
I don't think when they're splitting up, they're going, right.
Yeah. In fact, my survival idea was to stay together in a room. Just to wait.
Exactly. The green room. Find the green room of the Nostromo.
Yeah.
And you might survive. But yeah, they split up and it doesn't work out well for them.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that, yeah. It's not really early How to Survive advice because it's a staple of our...
Yeah.
It's our belief, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're the true believers of this sort of political idea. And the politics are, don't split up when you're in a survival situation.
Exactly.
If you and I were to go out now and we're walking through the park and, I don't know, 3 people came over and said, look, we're going to mug you now. Would you go, right, you're on your own, Joe, and leg it? Or would you be like...
Well, that depends though, doesn't it? Because if... I don't know, because 3 versus...
I'm not saying stand them up. I'm saying we'd run together.
But in that situation, as in the situation presented in the film, by saying let's split up, they're essentially saying
we're not all going to survive.
Yeah,
well, in fact, he doesn't even say that before they leave. He says we're not all going to make it.
Yeah, that's a pretty heavy way of thinking about it.
Maybe that's where the fight was lost before it even began by his
poor tactics.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they then later on in the film resort to sort of guerrilla warfare. Balls out of the bath sort of attack.
So balls out the bath. What does that mean?
It's an Alan Partridge quote.
Okay, right. So when in doubt, draw on the wise words of Alan Partridge.
Yeah, that is another How to Survive staple.
Yeah. I mean, they took on devastating losses. Yeah. And they've only got themselves to blame for it. Absolute stupidity.
Well, there's 5 of them to begin with. 5 goodies, basically. Yeah, and then 2 at the end of the film.
Yes. But I mean...
Not counting Gabe.
Yeah, but I mean, in that devastating losses, that's
over half.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is bad, yeah. No, yeah. I'm not arguing that it's bad. It's not, yeah.
And what I've noticed, if a dog ran at you, what would you do?
Well, panic.
Yeah. You got a few seconds. It's coming towards you. What are you going to
do? Well, this comes on to
Am I getting ahead of myself?
We're venturing into How to Survive territory. So maybe before we do that,
should we put a pin in it and say?
Yeah, I think we're going to come back to that.
I'll say so
very soon.
How to Survive a Dog Attack coming up on the How to Survive podcast. You're tuned into the How to Survive podcast. Coming up, we've got How to Survive a Dog Attack. Yeah. But first, a word from Chris.
Well, we're going to just let's touch base on the final scene. Yes. Basically, once they've escaped the venue, they hunt down Darcy and his compatriots, and the dog trainer and the last other member of the gang. What's your feeling on that?
The whole exchange, how it goes down?
Did you feel they were justified in hunting them down?
I think I'd just want to go home.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like, all his friends are dead. He wants revenge. Revenge is
a dish best served cold.
Yeah, that's not what that means. Neurologically speaking, we absolutely love revenge.
Yeah.
Psychologically speaking. If you get wronged by someone, it's very satisfying, especially for men. Men love revenge. Women, less so. I'm reading a book at the moment about revenge. Okay. They've gone through a lot, and is it better to just go with Gabe, leave?
Well, this is one of my How to Survive suggestions for the gang. So let's cut straight into it.
Okay, fine.
Is it foolhardy for them to track down the gang at the end? Because they could have just easily been killed.
Yeah, they just pulled a gun and shot them in the head.
Because clearly Gabe knew the way to a location with a phone and potentially someone who could help. However, does killing Darcy et al. Increase Pat and Amber's long-term survival prospects?
Well, so you're saying he may have hunted them down?
Yeah, he doesn't. He looks like a man who would bear a grudge.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. And by killing him, by killing Darcy, it ensures that he won't come after them, obviously.
Yeah.
However, surely Darcy had friends who would have sought retribution. He seems well connected. He seems well liked and adored by his followers.
So the underlings in the gang would have come for...
Yeah. However,
right,
a big point is made of the fact that this band and their participation in this concert is off the record. No one knows about it. It's not on social media. It's not on the internet. No one knows who they are, where they are, or why they were there, or that they were there at all.
Yeah. So they'd be hard to find again.
So they would be hard to
disappear into the ether.
Yeah. So maybe they would have got away with the revenge. But if that's the case, then they don't need to take revenge in the first place because they're not going to be able to be tracked down.
So I guess you could argue it either way, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically
they could have arguing it both ways.
Yeah, I'm playing devil's advocate and person arguing against the devil. But basically, they could have been shot and killed very easily, and maybe it would have been better to leave it to the police, because if the police stumble upon Darcy and his mates staging a crime scene, then it's going to be pretty obvious.
Yes, it is. Although I think perhaps Darcy could be, like you said, a Gus Fring kind of figure. Maybe he donates to the policeman's fun run, and they look kindly on him.
Yeah. Well, they
he is obviously running a gang. Like that's clear.
Yeah, but there's no. Is running a gang illegal?
Yeah. When the gang is, I mean, organised crime is illegal.
Yeah, but there's no. He's clearly good at covering his tracks.
I mean, forensics would be having a field day in there, wouldn't they?
Oh, it's good. Imagine the cleanup.
Yeah.
Imagine scraping the chunks of flesh off the floor outside the green room.
Yeah. So many weapons used, so many knives.
Oh, God, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. So you're a musician of some merit, I believe.
Well, not.
You've played sold out tours, arena tours.
Yeah.
But you've played gigs.
Yeah.
Who did you play to? Give me a couple of examples. So give me one gig that you've played.
I played a few gigs in it was a club in Exeter called Cavern.
Right. Who was the audience?
Various.
What sort of demographic?
Well, like students.
Students. Mm-hmm. Did you play a song called "Students Fuck Off"?
I didn't. No. I don't know of a song called that.
No, but you didn't write one, or
I can see where you're going with this. Are you saying? Are you suggesting that maybe they shouldn't have immediately alienated all the people in the room?
Yeah, especially people who are already alienated and angry and looking for a reason to fight.
Okay.
I wouldn't go up to a Nazi punk and say, "Nazi punks, fuck off."
Yeah.
However, that's a belief I have.
Yeah.
But I have a sort of self-preservation.
Yeah. Well, you say that, but I don't believe that them singing that song has any bearing on what happens to them.
Well, it doesn't help, does it?
I don't think that if they... Oh, I see what you mean, yeah. Because
here's one point.
If they'd done a huge, like, we love fucking murdering girls in green rooms and...
keeping our mouths shut if we ever see one happen.
Yeah, exactly, song, then they may have been more inclined to let them go, I guess, yeah.
But that song was added to the set list.
Right.
Had they not played it, they could have saved themselves a couple of minutes, which means they might have missed the murder.
Yeah.
And the murder would have taken place after they left.
That's true. But I'd imagine they'd have had a time slot to fill.
He said, in fact, he says which song was the one second to last.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's the one that I did her to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But second to last, so even if they cut that one out, it would have been the last song.
Right. So maybe they played an encore.
Maybe. Well, they would have had a time slot anyway.
Yeah.
So they'd have had to fill it with something. But I'm not sure that. I feel like now, I might be making an assumption here, Joe, but I feel like the neo-Nazi community is an insular one.
Yes.
I don't think that they are particularly
accepting.
liberal and accepting of outsiders. Don't if you do want to ingratiate yourself just for an evening, for a bit of culture, shared experience of fine punk music. Yeah.
Don't play one that's going to alienate people. Like I wouldn't go to say, I don't know. We said before I'm a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to a wrestling gig and go like,
wrestling fans fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, that's a good way for wrestlers to get get booed. Is to go there and go, oh, people from London are all jerks, and everyone boos them, right?
Yeah.
But if the people booing you were also likely to throw bottles at you and stab you, that's bad survival tactic.
But it's punk, isn't it? So
do you think they're, because it's punk, they'd be like, I respect you for doing
I think there is a sort of underlying I think there is an underlying level of respect. And even though the band, because it's the headline act who murder the girl in the green room, and the person who murders her says, what was your second to last song? I liked it. That was the one I killed her to.
Yeah.
He's praising their music. Yeah. So, he obviously likes it.
And he was the one who was sort of gurning and like spitting on the floor and stuff when they were playing Nazi Punk's Fuck Off by Dead Kennedys.
Yeah. I mean, you've gone one way with that. I want to go take a different tact, okay?
Because you've said more of that.
Well, you've said essentially abandon your principles, and a classic How to Survive suggestion that we've wheeled out time and again, because it always comes up, is stick to your principles. Right? Clearly they don't agree with the politics of the people they're playing to or the establishment at which they're playing, so they should just refuse to play there, even if it means stopping the tour, on principle.
Yeah, you don't want to devalue your artistic integrity.
Yeah, and Tad, the guy who is a student journalist at the start of the film who sets them up with this gig, he tells them, it's a rough place. It's boots and braces is what he says, which is obviously it's Nazi skinheads, basically.
Yes,
because that's their fashion for some reason.
Yeah.
And so they know what they're getting into, and they're like, punk music is punk music. Doesn't matter who we're playing it to.
Yeah.
But if they had stuck to their principles and gone, we are not neo-Nazis, we don't agree with their lifestyle or their beliefs, we're not going to play there.
But by the same token, maybe their beliefs are that everyone, like, that punk music can be a binding experience, and it doesn't matter, all walks of life, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian.
I don't think that the neo-Nazi punk gang are particularly fond of the idea of black, Asian, Hispanic people coming to the gigs and performing.
Yeah, but they're not the principles. It's not the principles of the neo-Nazis that are under scrutiny. Yeah. It's the principles of the band. Yeah. And they'd probably play to black, white, Asian, Hispanic people.
Yeah, of course they would. Yeah.
Yeah, they play an LGBT club. But they'd play transgender gigs. They're very inclusive people. Yeah. So why should they shut off the neo-Nazis?
But it's like saying, you like wrestling, so would you go...
Would I go to a racist wrestling thing?
Yeah, well, if you were a wrestler, would you wrestle at any and all wrestling events, regardless of...
the context?
Yeah. Like, would you happily wrestle at WrestleMania, and then you'd also happily wrestle at neo-Nazi WrestleCon,
well, you put 15 it that way.
Or whatever.
Yeah. What does it pay? What does it pay?
I don't know, $350. But like they are promoting their brand.
Yeah.
Without the use of social media.
Yeah.
That's going to spread word of mouth. Have you seen this band? Yeah. They're called the Ain't Rights. They're really good. You should book them for your Nazi skinhead nights because they play them.
Yeah.
They're going to get drawn into this situation time and time again.
Yeah.
They're always going to end up witnessing a murder.
Fair enough.
I mean,
I guess look at it this way. If we're a fairly liberal podcast. We've banged the feminist drum a few times. If we were invited to host a live podcast event at a men's rights rally, we'd probably turn it down.
Probably.
Yeah.
Although if you are hosting a men's rights rally,
HowToSurviveShow@gmail.com.
Yeah, it's like sort of admirable that they do it, and it's admirable that they clearly set out their opposition to the politics of the audience, like right at the start.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop them being murdered, Joe.
No, it doesn't. No.
And having principles and sticking to them would have.
Fair enough. Good point. And well made. When they're first in the room and they've got the gun, Patrick Stewart, Darcy, is saying, we need that gun. Now, what I noticed was that Darcy is an expert negotiator. He is the dream negotiator. He's just saying, like, he's using a lot of techniques that suggest that he's done this before. Right? Like, he's talking in terms that make him have more power, when actually they've got a lot of power. And they're underselling themselves. They've got a gun loaded, which does a lot of damage. They've got a hostage, and he's basically scaring them. So one negotiation tactic that they could have used, right, as well as like to hold on to your one main bargaining chip, right?
Sure.
Because as soon as they give the gun away, they're fucked basically. Because that's the only thing they have to negotiate with.
Yeah.
Don't give that away. Start demanding things yourselves. And there's a technique called anchoring in negotiation, which is where you want an outcome, obviously, from a negotiation. So you give a very high value or a very low value, depending on it, and that anchors their expectations in a certain direction. So if we were, say, gonna sell off the How to Survive podcast to
a men's rights conglomerate,
yes, exactly. If they came together and they were bidding on it, and we wanted a lot of money, we go in first and we say we want £10 million.
Yeah,
and now they're negotiating down from 10 million.
Yeah, they're working within a ballpark.
Exactly. So whereas if they open and said we want £5,000, we've got to then negotiate up. So you're anchoring the negotiation in your terms. So Pat, who was the nominated negotiator, in
he's
this
the one
situation,
trying his hand at negotiation.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the bargaining chip. What he should have said is, right, what we want is a helicopter to come here, fly us out with no one following us. We want more guns to be brought in. Yeah. And we want a lot of money as well.
Yeah, we want 10 million phones.
Yeah, exactly. And Darcy would be like, oh, God, this guy's good. Yeah. Okay. So how about we give you... We can't do the helicopter, but let's do a car. So immediately he's negotiating on your terms.
Yeah.
And that's a very powerful move. And it's psychologically one of the most effective things that's been proven. In fact, I've written an article on this, which has been published in Business Insider, Huffington Post, HubSpot. Honestly, this is something I'm up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my concern with that is that it assumes a level of honesty from your, fellow negotiator that I don't believe Darcy is fulfilling.
Right.
Because he could say, yeah, I've got a car waiting out front for you, but he doesn't, and when they open the door, he's just going to stab them up.
True. Well, how about this? You want to create pressure on that other person, right? This is why often when you're buying tickets, say on Ticketmaster, when you're buying tickets, they have the little timer. Yeah. Which is absolutely meaningless because often you're buying things that aren't going to sell out in 5 minutes. That's just to force you down the purchasing cycle. Sure. So what they should have done is, although Darcy probably doesn't have too much stake in Justin, he does care for him. He's a friend. He's an employee. So start torturing Justin, which doesn't sound very nice. But if you tie him up, start sort of cutting his fingers a bit, maybe pinch him. So he's yelping. We're saying we're gonna kill him in here. Listen, Darcy. Yeah. We're gonna kill this guy if you don't start acting up. And he said, no, I don't believe you. You twist his. Oh God. Yeah. Suddenly, you've got the pressure on Darcy. Yeah. There's a life at stake here.
I don't know how much he cares about Justin's life.
Yeah.
No, I don't. He doesn't exactly go in there and mourn Justin's passing, does he?
Well, maybe he does that privately. Yeah. He does seem a bit frustrated.
Does he know? Darcy never finds out what happens to Justin. I mean, he assumes he's dead, but
maybe he doesn't.
Like, he's going through all these meticulous.
He loves him so much.
No, like Darcy's going through all these meticulous plans in order to stage this crime scene. Making sure that none of the band members get shot.
What's he gonna do with Justin?
Yeah, well, like, do you think it's like he's going around digging out all the bullet holes from the wall, cleaning up the blood, opens the door to the green room, and there is Big Justin with his chest cavity open like a set of curtains, and he goes, 5 dogs did it?
Or if Justin's mum showed up and said, "Where's Justin?"
Yeah, I'm here to pick up Justin. Justin, your mother is here to pick you up. Yeah, he'd be in trouble.
Yeah, he was in the green room earlier. Why don't you have a look?
Well, earlier you brought up dog attacks and what to do. Now, I thought we'd throw over to our old friends.
Yes, I was hoping you'd say this.
WikiHow for their guide on how to handle a dog attack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ever since I've been using WikiHow, by the way, I haven't died.
That is 100% success rate.
Yeah.
So basically, the guide comes in 3 stages, and I've adapted it for the purposes of our protagonist.
Can I guess the stages?
Okay.
Before dog attack?
Yeah.
During dog attack?
Yeah.
After dog attack?
Correct. Yeah. Basically, it's like the before part is like,
don't rub meat all over yourself.
No, it's literally like, if you see an angry looking dog, don't
antagonize it.
Yeah, exactly, things like that. So this is sort of skipping to stage 2. So assuming the dogs have already attacked you, because it's not like in Green Room the protagonists are attacked by the dogs because they've antagonized the dogs.
No, exactly. Poking him with a stick or something.
Exactly. So step 1, do not panic. Dogs can sense fear.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
They do panic. They run. They scatter.
Hands in the air, running around in circles.
Reese runs out the back window, ends up dead. All right, and Tiger panics in the way that he basically lies down and presents his throat.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah. So don't panic, because dogs can sense fear, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay. Do not try to run away.
Right.
Okay, because dogs are fast. They can run. Yeah. They run quickly. Distract the dog with another object, it suggests, e.g. a chew toy.
Okay.
Now, we don't see any chew toys in the venue or in the Green Room, so it would be erroneous of us to assume that they have access to any chew toys.
No.
I mean, the dogs don't live on site, so there may not be much in the way of dog accoutrement in the venue.
No, exactly. You don't want to gamble on that.
Yeah.
Whenever I go to a venue, I don't check whether there's dog toys there.
And also, it should be said that the dogs are basically a surprise from the perspective of the band. So, they didn't have the chance to prepare any sort of stick-like objects.
No, they didn't look for any tennis shop on the way there.
Tennis balls, a classic dog. I'm talking classic dog territory. Yeah. Now we're skipping to the stage where the dog is in the process of attacking you. Okay, so it suggests that you fight back because your life may depend on it.
Yeah.
Okay,
don't just sit there and be bitten.
No, don't just present your throat openly to them.
That's what must have happened. That's the only way I can work out what's going on.
It leaps onto him and pulls him down, and
Yeah, but still, you'd put your hands over your throat. That's the first place I'd cover.
Well, that is one. That's you're skipping a couple of bullet
because I've got a brain. I'm like poor old Reese.
If you wanted to fight, back against the dog, right? Hit the dog in the throat, nose, or on the back of the head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just punch him repeatedly.
Not on the top of the head, Joe.
Why?
Okay, because most dogs have very thick skulls, and this will only serve to make the dog angrier.
God.
So while the dog is thrashing on top of you, tearing your body parts off, you got to make sure that you're anatomically adjusting your punch direction.
So you want to be doing an uppercut rather than that punching down is quite
you don't want the top of the head. You want back of the head, which I presume is quite a small surface area on a dog.
Yeah,
because most dogs' heads don't protrude in the way that humans' heads do.
No,
but if not there, then throat and nose. Yeah, perfect places to aim. Okay. Use your body weight on the dog.
Yeah, pin him down.
Yeah, pin him down. Sit on him. Kneel on him. So he's on his side. Mm-hmm. Okay. Rather helpfully, WikiHow points out dogs can bite, but they can't wrestle.
No, yeah.
Famously,
no one's ever been German suplexed by a dog.
No, there's been no successful WWE Alsatians. No. So, assuming your fighting back has failed, right? Then we go into damage limitation territory. Okay, get into a ball to protect your vital organs. Okay, the diagram presented on the website is a sort of fetal position, covering your ears, throat, with your arms. Okay, and that protects your internal organs and the areas that the dog would likely attack, which are throat, all that sort of thing. It does also say don't scream or run away or roll away, as this may encourage the dog.
Right.
And I assume that's because if you roll into a ball and then roll away, it mistakes you for...
It's going to pick you up in its mouth and take you back to its owner.
Exactly, which we all know is a member of the neo-Nazi gang.
Yes. Yeah, that's the last thing you want.
Yeah, exactly. And then like, we love WikiHow here at the How to Survive podcast, but I can't help but think it skips a step here, because the status quo currently is that we're in a ball, we're protecting our vital organs, we're not screaming or running away. The diagram is of a man walking away. It's like missing a reel of footage in a film, and it just cuts from protecting your body from a dog's vicious attack to you just walking calmly away from the situation. So yeah, it's as simple as that.
Okay.
So thanks again to our good friends at WikiHow for sending that in.
Yep.
How to survive a dog attack. It's available on their website in full. Yeah.
Fair enough. So always good to hear from those guys.
Yeah.
I have one more idea on how to survive. And this comes from Darren Brown.
Okay.
Well, one of his shows, not like I was having a conversation with Darren Brown. Darren Brown, the
Darren
famous,
Brown's emailed it.
Yeah, Darren Brown's emailed darren.brown@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that, I don't know. Probably not. Sorry if I just gave out Darren Brown's email. Darren Brown, the magician, or faux magician,
the illusionist, I think he prefers to be called.
Right, illusionist and master of trickery. I remember watching a show he did a while back where he said, if you're ever confronted by someone who is angry and going to mug you or something, you should say something completely nonsensical. Like, I think the example he gives is something like, my aunt has a red painted fence. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And that basically brings down their aggression mode into confusion.
Yeah.
And then you can disarm them in a sense of like, just talk to them and say like, have you ever painted a fence? They're quite hard to do because it might rain, and they're just out of their comfort zone because they're expecting it to go one way, and you've taken it another way.
Defy expectations.
Exactly it. Yeah. So my advice is when Big Justin's a good example. When he's got a gun in your face, so let's play this out, right? I'm Justin.
Yeah.
I've got a gun in your face. Okay, motherfucker, I'm gonna blow your brains out. Sit the fuck down.
Have you ever enjoyed the work of Matthew Le Tissier, the Southampton midfielder who played for them from the sort of early 90s into the early 2000s?
Listen, shut the fuck up. You sit down.
How many fir trees do you think are in this area? Like, if you took a square mile around this venue?
40? 40.
What, is that per square mile or...? Do you do much hiking?
No, I've got a bad back.
When was the last time you bought new towels? I think you sort of should buy them.
Are you accusing me of having bad towels? Oh, I'm angry again now.
Oh no. Pick your words carefully.
Yeah. Oh, you see, it's quite disarming, isn't it?
Will you tell me?
It is. I'll be honest, it is.
You were disarmed.
I felt like, because I was thinking of answers. And then, But yeah.
So is the eventual aim to confuse them so much that they leave themselves open to attack, or is it?
No, it's more that they. Well, Darren Brown gives an example where he was almost mugged,
right? And
he did this thing, and the person became so overwhelmed by the situation that he started crying, and he just sat and talked to them for a while.
And then was stabbed 15 times.
And that was how Darren Brown died. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. Just confuse them a bit.
Yeah.
Because they're expecting one thing. They're riled up. So if you just basically give them nothing, they'll feel a bit ridiculous. Yeah.
Okay.
Equal to that, a lot of these violent offenders, what they need is that they're missing something in their life. They've gone down the wrong path. So give them something productive to do.
Yeah.
So if you said, guys, I know that you want to kill me. You're like, you and your dogs. What do you say? You give me a hand here. I need a couple of volunteers to help me out with digging a hole to get us out of this green room. You look like a big, strong lad.
Big Justin, you look like you could dig quite a big hole, if you don't mind me saying.
You grab a shovel, Justin. You dig in there. Oh, I don't know. No, come on, Justin. You could dig such a good hole.
I believe in you.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're missing. Yeah. But then Darcy is sort of offering them that.
Yeah, but also he's offering them the risk. He's offering them the strength of a father figure and something productive to do with their time. The problem is the productive thing to do is kill people.
Yeah.
If you said, look, see how much how better it is if you help people. Why don't you start by helping me to overpower these guards and escape? Just an idea.
It's an interesting proposal. Yeah. Okay.
The Mahatma Gandhi sort of passive.
So defeat your enemies with kindness. Wonder if that would have worked in Green Room. Well, that was episode 45 of the How to Survive podcast. 45, Joe, it's a big number.
I know,
yeah. If you have any film suggestions, films that you would like us to cover, or if you have any survival suggestions for any of the films that we've covered, even if it's way in the past, we'll go back, we'll talk about it, we'll analyse your ideas, then get in touch. The email address is howtosurviveshow@gmail.com. Meanwhile, on Twitter, you can get in touch, and the Twitter handle is @howtosurvivepod. Follow us on there for all latest updates on the podcast, and keep your suggestions, your entry into the Survivors Hall of Fame coming in. Episode 50 is going to be the inaugural How to Survive Survivors Hall of Fame episode, where we enter one survivor from the previous 49 films into the Hall of Fame. Keep your suggestions coming in. We'd love to hear them.
Would you enter Pat?
Well,
he does survive.
He does. It's not as clean as some of the people that we've covered, though, is it?
Or maybe you could enter Amber, who is, equally a good survivor.
Potentially. Well, if anyone out there has seen Green Room, enjoyed this episode,
maybe there's a particular advocate for Pat and Amber out there. We'd love to hear from you.
Exactly. And also, don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes. It really helps us out. Helps us reach a wider audience.
Yeah.
So you can leave feedback for us as well.
Yeah, we'd love to hear what you're thinking as well.
Yeah, we do. We do read the reviews, and we tailor the podcast a bit depending on the feedback. So if you've got any suggestions for us, we'd love to hear them.
5 stars though.
Yeah. We don't get out of bed for less than 5 stars.
We don't listen to advice if it's coming from anything below 5 stars.
But yeah, thanks very much for listening. Next week we're going to be covering David Fincher's Panic Room.
And following that, we're going to Stanley Kubrick's classic film about a man who goes mad whilst out in the isolation of the great American wilderness. And that film, of course, is A Clockwork Orange.
No, we will be covering The Shining and then Goodnight Mummy as part of our parental guidance season.
Goodnight Mummy,
yes,
I haven't seen yet.
No.
But the trailer looks absolutely terrifying. A German film, so it'll be the second foreign language film we've done in quite close succession.
Yeah. But if you've got, as I said, if you've got any suggestions for us in terms of content, films to cover, anything like that, let us know. All the usual places.
Thank you very much for listening once again. And Nazi punks, fuck off.